My name is Michelle Porter. I'm a writer and poet in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm going to read a nonfiction piece called She Gets a Paper Route So She Can Save Up for a Bicycle. It's part of a book-length collection of nonfiction called Best Kind, featuring new writers from the province. This excerpt opens at the beginning of the piece. She tells the bald man who opens the door that she is collecting for the sun. He is 4 tabs behind, which means he hasn't paid for 8 weeks, and that is the entire time he has subscribed to the newspaper. Her little sister jumps on the last step and leans to the left to see if she can get a better view of the insides of the house. Her sister likes looking inside houses. She does too. It's one of the interesting things about going around collecting money for the folded newspapers she leaves in mailboxes 6 mornings a week. She likes how the doors open wide for her so she can see just that bit from the front steps, because it is like overhearing 2 of your teachers talking in the hallway when they don't know you're there. She sees so many things. A fat cat on winding stairs, 3 Cabbage Patch dolls in diapers leaning against a big couch, a skateboard sticking out of a neat coat closet, happy shoes in a jumble beside a row of ski boots. Lots of times kids open the door and they have to yell to get their moms or dads, and there is a terrific sort of confusion as they swoop in, searching pockets and purses for the right change because she doesn't have enough. She has to cross the bridge to come to these houses. In the mornings, she comes out in the darkness to pick up the newspapers from the corner up the hill and deliver them to the houses that want them, from Aikinsdale Street to Belford Avenue. Some of the houses have dogs that bark, but most are quiet and still asleep when she leaves a newspaper in their mailbox. One of the houses has a woman who is always awake and complains if she is late, so she always tries to make herself get up right away when the alarm clock goes off. It's usually not so hard to make herself get up, because the mornings are this thing she never knew until she had to be outside before anybody else so she could save up for a bicycle. She thinks only the boy who delivers the other newspaper understands. They've never talked, and he's already a teenager, but he always nods at her, and she believes that means he understands about everything. Every 2 weeks or so, she crosses the bridge in the hours after school to collect. Soon, but not yet, the houses will begin to cast their shadows even before she has finished her dinner. On this afternoon, she has already gulped down a bowl of macaroni and cheese, and still a stubborn sun hangs onto a sky she doesn't know is big because she's never seen another. The houses are exposed, every line drawn thin and straight. The man who opens the door doesn't have any hair, and he wears the kind of clothes all the men in this neighborhood wear. The smell of him and his house stings her nose, like the smell of the social studies teacher who gave her a list of books she might like to read and asked her what she thinks about them, even though she is too embarrassed to say what she is thinking to anybody. The man in the doorway smiles. She tells him she is collecting for the newspaper and how much he owes. He fumbles with his wallet and drops it because he is not looking at his hands, but at her sister. He makes some silly joke as he picks it up, and because they are polite, awkward children, they laugh a little without making too much noise. They do this even though what he said wasn't very funny. They do this because they see he has tried to please them, and that is enough to make them want to please him in return. The man in the doorway gives her the money and keeps talking to her and her sister. She looks in the direction of the river, of the bridge they just crossed to get to this neighborhood. If she stands in the middle of the bridge, she can drop a dandelion on one side and watch it come out from the other side of the bridge, and the little yellow dot will bob on the water as far as she can see. She imagines it going quite far down the river, beyond the mall even, and its parking lot. She's never been any farther down the river than that. But upriver, she's walked along the path to the library and even as far as Lions Park. The river bends away there, tearing itself away from the playground, but she has never followed it because she always races her sister to the swings. The river, it runs like her little brother, bobbing a little bit over the bumps and toddling along for a while, then suddenly rushing ahead to catch up with a floating log and hanging back to play over the metal cage of a rusty shopping cart that lies half in and half out of the water.